Thank you for staying with us. It's still TVC Breakfast. Well, it's not uncommon that many people always look forward to retirement after long years of working. But how many persons get to enjoy it with various economic challenges and difficulty in pension payment? Rather than enjoy their years of work, many retirees start businesses as their employer's provident fund isn't sufficient to support them for the remaining years of their lives. The economic reality, so to speak, is that the plight of retirees are a growing concern in today's society, as many individuals struggle to maintain financial stability during their latter years. And that's what we want to address now as we bring in serial entrepreneur. She's also a business development expert, Eugenia Chinayandukwe. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Let's try to establish what the problem is. From your assessment, tell us what you're seeing. What is wrong with what currently obtains?
Thank you very much. The problem is quite glaring because we are all Nigerians, and then we see the financial situations in the country. Pension plans are actually supposed to be savings that you make and in contribution with your employer in such a way that at your retirement, what you have saved will be able to sustain you basically on a monthly basis. But of course, if you have about 10, 15 million as what you have saved, in consideration of the economic situation, and maybe you have been living on 100,000 to 150,000 20, 30 years ago, the same amount of money cannot sustain you at the current financial rates in the country due to inflation. And of course, we know as you are aging, you get sick most times. So health issues are also an issue that actually affects a lot of retirees from taking care of themselves. So whatever it is that you have saved from your retirement savings is honestly would not be sufficient for you to be able to take care of your life after work.
And that's
so
why,
basically, yeah, that is the problem.
And that's where people now begin to ask, based on, your interest, how you think entrepreneurship can, serve as a solution for retirees looking to augment their income, maybe after retirement, just to shore up their pension. What role can entrepreneurship, play in this regard?
Well, for me, entrepreneurship is the only answer to the current situation. Now, here is it. You have some savings, maybe I see come down to 15, 20 million. And then at the time that you retire, you can be able to access bulk of these funds to start up a business. You are investing, and that investment is expected to give you returns. So what you leave is on the returns that come from your investment as an entrepreneur. Now, but let me make it very clear. Employees, or let's say government employees, because the government is the highest employer of labor in Nigeria, these guys are administrative machineries that the government use to bring down their policies to the people. They are not business people. They are not investors. They don't even understand anything about business. And so when they retire, and then we are coming up with the option for them to go into business, we are also not being realistic, because the implication is that they take whatever they have and then they start up a lifestyle that they know nothing about. And so we come up with this retirepreneurship program or retirepreneurship initiative in such a way that prior to retirement, a minimum of 5 years to your retirement, we are able to come in as a social intervention initiative advocate to help you now begin to understand what is entrepreneurship, what is business, so that whatever you are able to access at your retirement, you are able to invest them very well or sustainably. But again, aside the fact that I came up with the idea of retirepreneurship, something I have been advocating for a long time is for the government to consider giving prospective retirees low-income loans at least 5 years before retirement for people who have very viable business ideas. The implication is that you can't go into a business that you have no strong knowledge about, and you take up all of your savings to go and start up. But the government can support by giving these prospective retirees access to low-income loans once they are able to have undergone series of training that prepare them to transit into entrepreneurship at the end of their retirement. Two results comes from this. First one is that you have well-prepared aging workforce who at the time they had completed serving you, they have something they can fall back on. The second one is that you are not asking them to go and take the insufficient funds that you have saved up for them to start up something new. Rather, you are supporting them by giving them a loan to finance their business and to be able to cushion the effects of business startup. So the summary of my two key points is that relying basically on pension savings to sustain your life at retirement is almost impossible. The second one is that entrepreneurship remains the best and the only option that can give retirees sustainable life at retirement. And that means they are not expected to go and take in from all they have saved to start up a business. Rather, the government is encouraging them by giving them a startup capital with which they can use to start a business. And then, of course, they can start paying back the loan at the time they start their retirement, because the business is now has survived, and the business cannot be able to pay back the interest over a period of time and also take care of them.
All right. And but the initial thing, it sounds fine, because I was about to ask further that in reality, how will a retiree who is at an average of 65 years or thereabouts, how do we achieve that success, so to speak, learning a new skill as an entrepreneur and all of that, knowing the volatility of the system, of the economy and all of that. How certain are you that the business will succeed? But then, I like the fact that you also said, okay, it's best that these things are done before retirement, and then looking at where government can come in. But in reality, how viable is that, government collaboration? Even many of these retirees have to struggle to get their gratuities and, their entitlements from government upon retirement. So how certain are we that, government will cooperate? What are you seeing from your end?
What I'm seeing from my end is that this is something that is doable, and this is something that is possible. And if the government is honestly committed to taking care of the lives of people who have sacrificed 30 to 35 years of their active life, we need to understand that these retirees or prospective retirees have actually sacrificed their most active years serving the government. The best that the government can do to support them is to ensure that they give them certain level of protection and sustainability. And let me be honest with you, this is something very, very doable, because if you really want to fight corruption to an extent, then you have to be able to assure me that at the time I have completed serving you, I have something to fall back on. Government can save a lot from the fact that most of the retirees, oftentimes for those who have gotten to a certain level in the system, at the time they are about to retire, they have this fear, they have this anxiety. And so you find them so desperate about getting money. And, I don't really want to get straight, I don't want to call it a name, but, you realize that their actions is done in such a way that they just want to accumulate more funds. You see, corruption at that level is actually very high. And the reason why this is happening is because they are afraid of the unknown. What happens to them 5 years after retirement? and what the government has prepared for them is not sufficient, what they have also said for themselves is not sufficient, so they end up looking for avenues to get in more money. So the government can save certain percentage of this attitude of the funds accumulated by this desperation by spreading it across prospective retirees. The fund is there. The government can do this. And of course, if we have a system that is well planned, then we can prepare for that, because at the time you are employing this person, remember that when you, from your retirement savings plan or pension plans, you can be able to assess certain percentage, which I learned is about 25%. Of course, this same 25% can be made accessible for them prior to retirement. The funds can be made accessible to them prior to retirement. But the truth remains, looking at the financial situation in the country, the percentage is actually very poor. The best the government can do is to make an intentional plan, set up policies that support this initiative in such a way that, okay, what is the capital investment that this retiree or that this worker is asking for? 30 million, 20 million. And then again, the business has to be low risk business. All of this has to do, the financial institution will do their due diligence before even making the funds available. It's not that you just come up with any business idea and then you have access to the funds. No, we must make sure that this is a viable business. They must also make sure that this is a business with low risk, because at 60 years, you are expected to engage in business that will not come up with so much risk and challenges for you. Because, going into business as an entrepreneur, a lot of things can happen, and then your BP can go so high. Yeah. So the funds are available. The government can do this if they are well prepared to support their aging population and to reduce corruption to a certain extent.
Well, very fantastic thought, beautiful thoughts, and beautiful initiative that you actually canvassing for the retirees. But the question ordinary people will now ask is, fine, are there people who had successfully gone into entrepreneurial ventures, after, post-retirement, and what are the challenges they faced, and what lessons can we learn therefrom?
Okay, now let me take you down to, I have been doing this for quite a number of years, and I have engaged with prospective retirees, and I have mentored those who have retired and who have started business and who are also doing very well in business. The most important thing and the first thing is to acquire the knowledge and the skill and the understanding of the concept of entrepreneurship. That is quite basic. I want to bring in Transmission Company of Nigeria, because the Transmission Company of Nigeria is a government institution that is so deliberate and intentional about the lifestyle of their employees. We have had a number of them who have come down to me for mentorship, and we have seen them succeed. Yes, I also understand that they have fears, they have failures like every other business person. But because the organization is so intentional about, first of all, engaging them in opportunities that equip them with the knowledge, the understanding, and the dynamics of business. Prior to retirement, we have had some 3 years, 2 years to retirement, and we have some who are already in business and they are doing well. The MD of Smart Meters, Dr. Babagana, who is also a mentee and quite a close senior friend, he was also a retiree. He retired and then he came in for 1 or 2 mentorship program, and then he started his business. And today, MD Smart Meters at Kaduna is doing quite very well. We have a number of them. So these things are very possible. What is important is that they are exposed to adequate knowledge and skill that will help prepare them. So even if the funding support we are talking about is not readily available, the little they have, they can still start up something, and that can sustain them.
Right, and this conversation is so timely because only yesterday I was speaking with a, will I say, 5-year-old retiree. She retired about 6 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago, or thereabout. And that concern came up after active service of 35 years, and you suddenly find yourself sleeping, waking up, watching TV, and all of that, until someone advised her to go for vocational program of about 9 months. So here we are. But, while people would say it's healthy that retirees, go this route of, being active somewhat, it's going to be healthy for them in the long time. There is also another school of thought that believes that many of these retirees will rather work part-time and not full-time. And, from what you have said so far, being an entrepreneur, you just have to be very hands-on in your job. So how then do you strike a balance? And if you can also break down this low-risk options that one can do as a retired entrepreneur or as a retiree venturing into entrepreneurship, if you could break it down so people will know, just how doable this is.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me try to address something first of all. When we talk about entrepreneurship, it's not just about buying and selling. It's also about selling your expertise and your skills. Now, working for the government gives you the opportunity and the privilege to get to acquire global knowledge and global skills. And this knowledge and skills, you can make money from them. So you can as well be a consultant. And the truth is that the sweet thing about entrepreneurship is all about ideas. It's about ideas. So you may not necessarily go to acquire a business skill to start making shoes, or to start the business of importation and exportation. You can also leverage on your knowledge and the expertise you have built for a period of 20, 30 years to sell. And then doing that, it doesn't require you to start undertaking a series of skill acquisition program. So we have to really understand that when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's not just about the idea of buying goods and selling goods or producing or manufacturing. It also has to do with the idea of you sitting down, understanding or categorizing the skills you have acquired over a period of time, and then identifying gaps and opportunities available in the market, and then going out to sell them. So for retirees, there are so many things that they can do. That is where the importance of mentorship comes in. During most of my programs, I do what I call interest identification. There are people who are serving in the HR department today, but they don't love that job, but they have to do it because that's the expectation of the role. So when you undertake the interest identification mentorship program, it helps us and also help you to identify which area you are good at. Then to answer your second question, we have also what we call senior internship program, where at the time before, prior to your retirement, if you have undergone maybe some of my classes, opportunities come up where you can go and offer internship program for about 1 year, 6 months, 8 months, depending on the arrangement we have with the host organization or institution or individual or businesses. And then you can undertake a senior internship program. This offers you an opportunity of even better understanding yourself outside of the public sector. So these are all opportunities available for retirees. The most important thing, like I said, and like I mentioned earlier, is for the institutions where they are currently working to be intentional about the lifestyle, about the lives, not just the life, about what happens to this set of persons who have sacrificed so much to us. So once they are intentional about that, then they can now look out for opportunities and avenues through which they can now help them to better prepare for life after retirement.
Right. Well, when you mentioned governments, coming in to helping them, and then I read in the papers that Governor Omar Zulum of Borno State, paid the pension debts, all the pension debts in the state. But if you ask some of these pensioners, they will tell you that what they get monthly is just about 4,200, 4,500, just hovering around 5,000 rather. But what advice would you give someone who a would-be retiree who is hesitant about taking the entrepreneurial leap, getting into business, but are eager to explore new opportunities and, for financial and security and for personal fulfillment, what advice would you give them?
Well, the truth is that I have to be a bit raw with you. Retirement is a debt almost every one of us will have to pay, because you will get to that point in your life. And no matter how very successful you are, but here in this context, we are talking about people who are working for either private organization or public institutions. Yeah, so you just have to be intentional. This has to do with your life. It has to do with your life. It has nothing to do actually with institutions that are continuing institutions, because you stay, you remain, and then someday you have to go and someone else comes over and take over your space. It is very important for you to come down for mentorship programs, because it is only through these mentorship programs, some people call it training programs. Yeah, it's also training. It is only once you find yourself in such a platform where you are opportune to receive insight from people who have also undergone through the same space like you, and also people who have been trained and prepared to also guide you and mentor you for life after retirement. It is only when you have an opportunity of engaging with them, sharing experience with them, gaining insight from your colleagues, and then being exposed to new knowledge that you can begin to understand what we are talking about. So there has to be intentionality, and there is nothing like I have. Now, let me tell you again, based on my experience, people will tell you, I know what I want to do when I retire. Just don't worry. When I retire, I know what I want to do. And I have had 2 or 3 clients who feel so confident about themselves, and then some of them go into, because maybe they have quite a number of savings, they retire, and then they feel they will just go pick up this money and then start one big factory that will be paying them, not understanding that operating business is not easy. So such things can also build people's confidence to an extent where they say they're not interested in the knowledge you're offering and the opportunities that is coming around. And again, let me comment for the governor of Borno State. He's a very dynamic man. We can say that the amount of money being given to these guys are quite almost, it's not going to take care of anything, but it's still something. It is still something. I have most recently tried to reach out to some of those states to see how much we can be able to extend these social intervention initiatives. Because these people at that level, most of them are actually retired at a very poor level. However, they are actually very old, 60, 65, even as much as 70. Because when you are younger, you add more age. When you are getting older, you want to reduce some numbers from your age. So you end up finding most of them who are getting to this retirement very fragile and are not able to do so much. So I also have some programs I have been doing to actually help them, sustain them, take care of their health, and also be able to take care of some basic needs.
That's right.
All right. Eugenia, that will be all for now. I'm sure that, and I do hope that many people, latch on to these contributions from you regarding their lives post-retirement stage. Well, we want to thank you very much, Eugenia Chineye Ndukwe, for speaking with us on TVC Breakfast. We hope we can connect with you again to tell us some more about this work that you're doing. But thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's it on TVC Breakfast, this Monday edition. We must also tell you that all the views and reactions of all our resource persons on the show this morning are theirs and have no connection with us at TVC News. But we thank and appreciate all our contributors on the program. Thank you too for watching, and hope you can join us again for the Tuesday edition. Up next is Your View with the ladies. Bye now. Have a great day.